out with DFEMs. Senator. From recess, and prior to going to recess, with no objections from the members, we're going to proceed with DPS, followed by DPW, and then ending our hearing with DFEMs. And so up next, we have the acting for DPS joining us today. The Department of Public Safety, Tinian, submitted a request for 33 FTEs. But then under the governor's submission, 39 FTEs were allocated. There are 6 vacant positions currently under DPS, under the revised budget submission. The requests for operations include, for the most part, looks like new vehicles, requesting for 150,000, fuel at 100,000, supplies for office and operations come out to 25,000, communications at 55, repair and maintenance at 50,000, training at 25. Utilities come up to 90. And so before we proceed with any questions, I'd like to hand the floor over to the acting director for any statements.
Half a day, esteemed members of the Senate Committee. I am Sergeant Anthony P. Borja, the Acting Director of Tinian Department of Public Safety. I am writing to emphasize the urgent need for full support of operational budget. The recent surge in construction activity in Tinian, driven by the major infrastructure projects and influx of military personnel and construction workers, which has significantly increased the demand on our public safety resources. To address these growing demands effectively, our department requires the 14 additional full-time police and civilian personnel. This increase in staffing is crucial for maintaining safety and order amidst the heightened activity on the island. Additionally, sufficient funding for fuel and communication is essential for us to operate efficiently and to respond to emergencies in a timely manner. Furthermore, our utility funding needs are pressing. Our daily power usage amounts to approximately $60 a day. As with all other government entities, we're currently on a prepaid meter system. This system is particularly detrimental to our operations as it hampers our ability to manage power usage effectively, often leading to operational disruptions and inefficiencies. Reliable utility funding is necessary to ensure uninterrupted operations and support our critical functions. Moreover, Tinian DPS will not be able to work effectively with the proposed budget cut from 86 to 84 hours. This reduction would severely limit our operational capacity and further exacerbate existing constraints. It is also important to note that few of our police officers have disclosed that they are on the verge of leaving due to these operational constraints. Their potential departure will not only strain our limited resources further, but also compromise the safety and security of our community. We cannot solely rely on the mayor's office, as they too have competing priorities and face their own budgetary limitations. While the mayor recognizes the paramount importance of public safety, we are sincerely grateful for all the assistance provided to DPS, and we understand that other pressing matters also vie for attention. We appreciate the delicate balance required in serving our community comprehensively. Investing in these areas will significantly enhance our ability to ensure community safety and support the island's continued growth and stability. I urge you to consider these needs seriously in your budgetary deliberation. Thank you for your attention to this important matter and ready to answer some questions.
Thank you, Acting Director Sergeant Bora. Just looking at the budget, and I wanted to compare with your notes. How many sworn officers are currently on board?
16.
16. On the budget, there's 18, so 2 left.
I believe so.
Have those positions been filled?
So on the worksheet, the 25 worksheet, there's 23 total FTEs for DPS. I believe those are the current employees right now. 23 total, including the
Yeah.
director and the admin staff. So even though the worksheet says there's 39 FTEs, obviously 16 are not funded.
Right.
Yeah.
Were any officers that are not in the budget covered through, I don't know, other resources, other funding sources? And so for the current year, you've operated at the whatever 16 or 18 sworn officers. Correct. And how much in overtime, if any, have you incurred?
So I don't know the numbers. with me.
But they are your officers are incurring overtime,
Yes, correct.
even with just within a pay period. Do you know how much is incurred?
I don't have the exact number.
Okay. But let's maybe pick one officer. How much do they get in one pay period? How much in overtime hours do they incur in one pay period?
Ranging from 20 to 40 hours.
Just one officer.
Yeah,
So this would be over the 84 hours
Correct.
that is currently funded. And this is, would you say this would be regularly per pay period or during certain events?
right now it's regularly.
Okay. And the 14 would alleviate some of that, correct? Yeah, but even with the 14, I know one of the challenges you had during last year's budget was, I guess, the getting applicants. Is that still a challenge now? If we open up these positions, do you think though you'll be able to cover some of them?
One of the challenges is like you're an existing employee, like a PO1. So if they open a PO2, it's considered promotional. So
But once they get promoted, will you be able to fill the PO1 position? Do we have the pool for that too?
and we've announced it a couple of times, and
We haven't had a.
well, we had few of the officers that applied, like from PO1 to PO2, but OPM said it's when you apply, it's considered promotional. So in order for that person to get it, he has to either resign, and that you want to take that risk.
But then if no one else is applying, almost I guarantee they would take that. Yeah. Have you looked through at least WIA to at least get an understanding of how many would even start off as a cadet, and then we can provide the FTEs for those cadets that once they complete the cycle academy, then they'll be sworn. Have you had any discussions with the WIA
I
to
believe
see if,
Sergeant Villagomez is communicating with AWIA right now.
okay. I mean, because even if we find the funding for the 14 positions, we don't want to put all of it in there, considering the other requests from the other agencies. So what would you say would be a minimum FTE that you'd like to see for next fiscal year that you think you'll be able to get the reduce overtime, but also get the interested applicants to apply for those positions?
Senator, that's based on the assumption that OB will allow promotion from the PO1s to PO2s, right? To open up the slot. Otherwise, if you open up a PO2, and the most qualified applicants are the existing PO1s, where are you going to get applicants for the PO2 positions? So I think we have to address that for them not to consider a promotion requiring a new position where these people have to, stop service. And then the risk in terms of how long it takes for these actions to get through the process, it would make no sense. So, see what I'm saying? Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. We couldn't risk that. We couldn't risk having our police officers step down to apply for the PO2, and then the action takes 4 to 6 months to go through the process. Then we have no police officers. Right. What we need to do is we need to allow the PO1s to be promoted to PO2, open up the PO1s, and then add the additional PO1s. Now, as to how many people actually apply, I'll yield to the director, who unfortunately is not here today, because I think he has a better understanding in terms of how many people in the community might be willing to apply for the PO1.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. But also, like, one of the first steps could be to go through the WIA process to determine how many would start off as cadets that would later transition to. So, with the current, I'm not too familiar with the dynamics with OMB. I didn't think it would be that difficult to get PO1s up to PO2s. But if you were to say today, to argue for the promotion and the opening of these higher ranks, how many would you say you would need for the different ranks in order to get some of your officers promoted? So, like, let's just start with PO2s. How many additional PO2s would you need?
Right now, I think we need at least five more PO2s. Currently, we have like 5 PO1s.
And then how many? Right now, I'm seeing 3 PO2s. Would you say that you would like to see them get promoted to a PO3 as well?
Correct.
So, are you capped for a certain rank as to how many lieutenants or sergeants you're able to get in a department?
No.
So there's no, like, LT or captain right now?
Right now, we have 2 captains, no LT.
Were they recently promoted? I don't see any captain on the listing.
Yes, we do. 51. Is it there?
So you were able to get people promoted?
Yeah, we have 2 captains right now.
Are you familiar whether they had to resign and then reapply?
No, they didn't resign. They just got promoted a while ago.
So
Maybe like 6
how
years
was
ago.
that process? 6 years ago?
Something like that.
How?
Or maybe earlier.
When was the most recent promotion? Do you know?
I don't know the exact date.
Nothing happened this year?
No.
Okay. So right now, if we were to keep the current structure, or at least provide for a promotion within those that are currently employed, that would at least open up 5 PO1s. If we were to have, sorry, before I go any further, from a PO3 to a sergeant, are there much more stringent requirements that some of them may not qualify?
I believe you got to serve at least 2 years in a
And
police
everyone
officer.
who are listed as sergeants have already served those 2 years?
Can you repeat?
All right, everyone listed as a PO3 have already served at least 2 years?
If I'm not mistaken, either close or already past 2 years.
Okay. So there's at least 4 PO3s that are eligible to promote to sergeant. So going back to the PO1s, for example, if we promote them or provide for a position for them to get promoted to a PO2, that would open 5 PO1s. Would you say 5 PO1s would be something that the department would be able to, I guess, advertise and get interested individuals to apply?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that would be one of the considerations. I understand that there are several vacant positions, 14 to be exact, for officers alone. Rather than provide the 14 FTE, maybe the committee can consider providing for some promotions and then see what the atmosphere is like in terms of whether you'll be able to fill those PO1s once they become vacant. Where's BMV in regards to the real ID issuance? Everything up to standards? And is that something that Tinian is already issuing out?
I think they haven't used the real ID yet.
You haven't?
No.
But the machine is there, the structure is, or the tech is certified or licensed to, any issues there?
I know the machine's here, but I think they're just waiting on Saipan for. I'm not really familiar for why it's
So-
not.
Okay, not one license, real ID was issued?
No.
The driver's license tech 2, I see is that the only personnel assigned to the BMB?
Just one.
Sorry, Chairman, can you repeat that question?
I only see like one position at least labeled driver's license tech that would cover the BMV section.
Is that the one at the very bottom? That's $1?
That's vacant, yeah.
Okay. So who's in B&B now?
Juan Cabrera.
Okay, so the administrative specialist 2 is now assuming.
Would that person be because in order for somebody to manage the real ID, that would have to be someone who is certified, maybe licensed. I would have to go back and check, but is that person, do you know if that person is qualified to manage that, or will you need to fill this driver's license tech 2 to address that?
I believe we gotta fill up the
Okay.
position.
Normally, a DO Tech 2 would have to have the prerequisite of a DO Tech 1. Do you have a DO Tech 1 right now?
No.
I hate to request or provide an FT for a DO Tech 2 if there isn't a DO Tech 1 right now. Is there someone that may qualify? I mean, I don't want to have you guys go through that hurdle of trying to find someone when there's no one there to fill that.
I think this was this position.
Oh, that was the person that was previously holding the position and then left.
Inside.
That's
So
why
even if you were to find somebody new, it will have to start as a DO Tech 1. Okay. So we'll consider that request as a DO Tech 1 instead. Your power situation, has that been addressed with DFEMS? I know in the past there was like some sharing of you, I don't know,
actually
you-
we're paying the power. The
for
mayor's
both,
office.
but they're separate units. They're separate meters?
Do we have 1 meter? Yes, DPS has no, but I think DPS has 1 meter, right? Or no?
We have 2.
We have 2?
Yeah.
And then
separate from a
DFMS
motor
has
vehicle.
their own
It's motor vehicle.
meter.
The
Okay.
motor vehicle and then the regular DPS. So they have two power meters.
Okay. And you're both are in prepaid?
Correct, yeah.
Do you know up to how long will that last?
For motor vehicle, I know it's up to either end of December or early October.
And for the admin?
I don't know the numbers.
You're requesting for 150,000 for vehicles. Did any of your vehicles become inoperable in the current fiscal year?
Right now, we have 11 unoperable,
And
9, 8 that's operable.
are those 11 something that can be repaired?
Yes,
Okay. Are all 11 vehicles repairable?
correct.
Okay. How much would you say you need to repair all those 11 as opposed to getting new vehicles?
I don't have the exact numbers, but I know some cars need alternator, transmission, battery, tires need to be replaced.
So I have you at 50,000. Your request is for 50,000 for repair. That should get the 11 back up and running. So the 150 is something that we can get rid of? Or are you needing specialized vehicles? What's this 150 request for? UTVs or, I don't know, is there a?
So apparently he does not know yet.
Okay. Do you currently use UTVs?
What's that?
Do you use UTVs right now?
The
Four-wheelers?
just one for the jet ski.
But nothing for patrol?
No,
And currently, how much do you spend monthly on fuel?
currently the mayor's giving us 1,500 a month.
1,500 a month. And boating safety, how many equipment do you have there?
We have one boat, one jet ski, and 2 vehicles.
Do you get any assistance from Saipan Boating and Safety?
Yes. Whenever we have trips up to Saipan, they'll refuel the boat.
Do you know if the boat was purchased through federal grants or local money?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get support for those boats besides going to Saipan, but just for local needs?
Yes, correct.
All right. Thank you, Sergeant. Recognize any member. I recognize Senator Calking neighbor.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, Ms. Borja. Officer Borja, thank you for being here this afternoon. My apologies. You did mention briefly in your opening remarks that some of the officers are contemplating leaving the force. Do you know, do you have an estimate of how many possibly might be considering
Maybe we're looking at 4.
for? And these are of the officers, not admin.
Yeah, correct.
With your fuel and what you're allowed to, or what is provided by the mayor's office, could you give us an estimate on how much are you able to patrol on a regular basis? I mean, is there a limit to how many hours a vehicle might be on the road doing?
Because right now we're only getting 5 gallons per vehicle, and that's just being conservative.
And how long?
And that's 1/4 of a gas tank. Yeah.
And so would that 1/4 be exhausted in that day? Or how long?
Usually a day.
Yeah. So how many vehicles at any given time would be out on the road patrolling?
Right now, one per shift. Or in patrol, it's one. Uh, Bone safety, one, and investigation, three, that are out every day.
And would you say this hampers your ability to conduct your operations?
Correct.
Um, Could you give me so you've been with DPS for how long?
18 years.
18 years. When you were being provided during the times that operational funding was made available, um, what was your like how many vehicles would be on the road and for how long?
Before, we used to have like the frontliners. There's always two vehicles in case there's multiple calls or distress or whatever. But now we're just running one per shift.
Okay. And have you guys experienced an increase in calls, vandalism, any of those types of?
Yes, correct. Because we cannot really operate with that 1/4 gas. It's, yeah, just going to the airport, we'll eat that gas.
That's all I got, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognize Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon to you, Officer. What would you say is the ideal number of patrol vehicles that should be out there to ensure safety for the public?
I believe 2 or 3 vehicles.
So at least 2 or 3
Yeah.
vehicles patrolling. And right now, it's one.
Just one.
Is that one throughout the day or just,
12 hours.
so 12 hours? Okay.
Yeah.
How is that broken into, like 6 hours in the daytime and 6 hours in the evening? Or like, how do you allocate your 12 hours?
So right now, we just wait for calls because we don't know if the calls is up at Carolina's. So,
Okay.
yeah.
How many calls would you say you get per day?
Per day, 2, 3,
2 or 3.
depending on, yeah.
Okay. What kind of impact does this have on the community with the lack of, presence of patrol vehicles out there?
I think the number of like theft, vandalism has gone up.
Has increased?
Yeah, because there's no presence out on the road.
Okay. And then on the fuel that you said, for $1,500 a month that's set by the mayor, is that only for your vehicles or does that also include the boat?
Just the vehicles.
Just the vehicles? Is there a separate budget for the boat?
Yeah, the Saipan's providing the fuel
Or
for
Saipan's providing
the boat.
how frequent do they?
When we have like runs up Saipan or transport or distress, once we hit Saipan, they'll fill up the boat.
Okay. How often does that happen? Once a week?
It all depends. Twice a month.
Twice a month, okay. All right. And then under the FTEs, you said there's currently 2 captains?
Correct.
Because I'm looking at the FTE report and I don't see a position there for captain, let alone 2.
Worksheet as a sergeant, I'm not exactly sure. For the individuals. On the government proposal for the individuals.
Yeah, I see a police sergeant, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they're actually captains and not sergeants.
Correct.
Is that reflected in their actual paperwork, or is that just on this report?
Yes, they're actually captains.
So they're okay, so maybe then they just need to update this report. Okay. I would like to touch on training and stuff like that. So the personnel training, you requested 25,000. Does that include the required certifications or permits and licenses that these officers have to get on a, I don't know, is it annual basis or every 2 years? You know,
Fortunately, Senator, I don't think that the acting was briefed on exactly the request from the director. It was
Okay.
Individual line items.
okay. And I'm just asking because the travel expense is very minimal at $5,000. And I wanted to make sure that if these training costs are to be had off island, obviously the travel expense will be a lot more than that. So we just want to make sure that we have a good idea of how much the associated travel costs would be so that these guys can actually go on training and receive whatever those required certifications are. I know that the DPS on Saipan sends 2 of their guys, I believe, to somewhere stateside, and then they come back and they certify the rest. But I'm not sure what the arrangement is for Tinian, so that's why I'm asking. Okay.
Do you use the vote?
And I'm asking also because when I asked the commissioner on Saipan whether Tinian and Rhoda were included in these trainings, he said yes. So I just want to make sure that, if there are any duplicates here or if there's something there that's not included on here, I want to make sure that we address that. And so then for overtime compensation, with the information given right now that there's potential resignations coming down the pipeline, I didn't catch earlier whether you gave an amount as to what you think the estimated overtime. I know it's hard to predict, but would you have any idea what that number would be, or no?
No,
Okay.
just
Okay. That's all I have, Chair. Are you?
Thank you. Sorry, before I hand the floor over to Senator Jude, can you verify on the listing? So again, you don't have any LTs right now?
no.
Okay. Dave, can you just make note of police sergeants listed, Barbara and Eloy, so that their position as captain is reflected on the budget so that they're not short funded under personnel, just to verify with OPM and OMB. At this time, I recognize Senator Hofschneider.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Acting Director.
Afternoon.
Thank you for doing an outstanding job representing the DPS, sitting in for the Director. Just a quick question because of the exponential increase in heavy equipments on Tinian, whether it's primarily the private contractors, no? There's quite a few. How often what's the protocol for NHTSA or for certification of these, to ensure that they're safe to go on the public road? Do we need to do one or?
Because right now we don't have any max up representative, so I believe Saipan comes.
Or max up, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, that was what I meant. So if it hasn't been done, I would like to request that you, once, the Director comes back, recommend to bring them in, because I see a lot of vehicles on the road, especially the extended vehicles, the 4x, the 16-wheelers or whatever. And just primarily that particular question, and in fairness for you, Nick, I don't want to go in details with regards to the numbers because I'm kind of like chiming in with the rest. I do want to reference, based on what I'm seeing, there's a couple of employees here that have reached step level 10 on their They're, I don't know how long, but I do want to flag that to recommend to the acting director or the director to start addressing this, because we don't want to get caught up with remember, I don't know if you remember the frozen salary, and then we had to retroactively pay them because they've been, I remember we retired that issue already, and we don't want to fall into that again. So I don't know what the next item is, but if we need to just, not that I'm singling them out, but they're the only ones that I see that they already hit step 10. And the other one is if there's any lateral transfer of any employees between the senatorial district, I recommend that we look at that and make sure that if there is, that we maintain that FT here on Tinian, or we just exchange if that is the whim of the department, of Centro and Tinian, in this case, road as well. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Acting Director, for coming.
Thank you, Senator Halschneider. Acting Director, has the department made any efforts to maybe start getting people back into getting their vehicles registered or getting insurance? Or has that always been the case right now?
Can you repeat?
Has the department made any effort into trying to get people back to getting their vehicles registered? I know in the past, Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan have probably given some leeway, but as we've seen on Saipan recently, there has been this push towards trying to get people at least to get the basic insurance and get registered. And so, has there been any move?
Yes, we do enforcement. So we can build up our revolving fund.
Do you know how much has been collected since the start of the fiscal year?
As of today, 2,550, I believe,
Is that dollars or vehicles?
dollars.
Okay.
But it's as of right now, it's zero. We just purchased power to reach us unto either end of September or early
Okay,
October.
thank you. At this time, Acting Director, if I can request for your department to start that communication with WIA, start seeing how many people would come in as a cadet, but also if you can come back to the committee with all the positions and all the officers that are promotable and what that numbers will look like, and so that way we can see the fiscal impact as well as clean up what's currently being proposed in terms of, is 14 really the number that is needed? I mean, but also with the understanding that while those are needed, the being able to find the interested applicants and people wanting to join the department. And so we may not even act on the budget until towards the end of August, and so that'll give you some time to look through those that are again awaiting promotion, and then also try to get some people motivated and encouraged to join the force. At this time, if there's nothing else from the members, we'll go ahead and excuse you for the rest of the day. And if there's anything you would like to share with the committee after the hearing, please feel free to reach out to any of the members.
Chair, if I may, just one issue that we'd like to request is we're trying to verify on the FY25 budget, the personnel, when it lists their annual salaries, exactly how many hours those are. We believe, I don't have the worksheets in front of us, and I'm actually trying to get confirmation from the department right now from their NOPAs. But we believe that this might be 86 hours. right? Okay, so if it's at 86 hours, then the FY '25 budget allocation of 87.5% would take us down to 75 hours.
Correct.
So the question is the upcoming fiscal year going to expect DPS to work at 75 hours a pay period? Or are they going to allow them to continue to work at 84 hours, and then there'll be a huge deficit that would be seen from the beginning of the fiscal year? So for us personally, and the mayor, that's why the mayor put this in his statement, this is one of our biggest concerns for the municipality, to properly fund DPS and DFEMS. And of course, it could be done this way, or the other way it could be done is rather than take it up to whatever, 86 or 96 hours and then take it back down because of the austerity, for DPS and DFEMS, just be straight out and say, if you're going to give them 86 hours, take their base pay, take them up to 86 hours, and then pay them straight across. And then it doesn't get confusing. Because this could lead to, if, for example, you're going to pay them 84, you're going to let them work 84 hours, and remember, overtime's not even in the budget. And then they're budgeted for 75 hours. So what is that, 9 hours, right? 9 hours, and then times X amount of people, times X amount of pay periods.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars in a deficit.
We may not really see the full picture until next fiscal year. From our understanding and from our hearing with OMB, there is a grant that will be used to cover, at least for the law enforcement side, DPS and corrections, and I believe DFEMS, to address the shortfall that's not covered within the general fund. And so they're still applying the 12.5% cut across the board, with the understanding that these grants will cover the shortfall. And so with that, Acting Director Borja, if there's anything you'd like to end with, I'd allow you this opportunity.
Just want to say thank you, and I appreciate your time and attention. It is my hope that your decision on the Tinian DPS budget will enhance our operation by addressing the challenges that is apparent, most especially in staffing, communication, fuel, and utilities, and in turn ensures that Tinian remains a safe haven for its residents.
Thank you. And again, the committee will await your revised personnel listing for consideration. Thank you. At this time, we'll recess for 2 minutes to get the acting director or representative from DPW to get settled. Short recess. Next, we have DPW. DPW submitted a request for 20 FTEs, but was only allocated 9. And majority of their operational requests consist of fuel, machinery, travel, rental of heavy equipment, utilities. And there are minimum amounts for different office supplies and communications. And so we have with us is a representative from DPW, Mr. Borja. And at this time, I recognize you for any statement you'd like to provide.
Good honorable members of the committee, and welcome to Tinian. My name is Joaquin Borja. Assistant Resident Department Head for the Department of Public Works. DPW is responsible for maintaining all right-of-ways, managing our landfill, and enforcing the CNMI building code, all of which relate to keeping our community safe and protecting our environment. Given our function as a department, our priorities will always be to strive for adequate number of staff, the ability to maintain and repair our heavy and light equipment, and access to fuel. The absence or lack of any one of these areas will render our department unable to properly maintain our right-of-ways and protect our environment. With that said, I would like to go ahead and move on to our personnel situation. So just touching on roads and grounds first, and then on the solid waste division. So in 2024, we have 5 funded positions, and the legislature provided an additional 2, increasing our equipment operators from 5 to 7. And we're very appreciative and grateful for that. During FY 2024, we had about 4 of these positions vacated, but luckily we were able to quickly fill them up with new staff. However, we were unable to timely fill 2 positions due to the lengthy delay in the routing process of the RFPs. So with the first of the 2 positions, and I'm assuming these are the new ones or the 2 additional ones that the legislature provided us. So the position was vacated, and the RFP, this is for equipment operator 2. The position was vacated and the RFP was routed around May 2023. It was then announced in November 29, 2023, about 6 months from when we initiated the routing. From then, OPM sent us an eligibility list in February of the following year, 2024, about 3 months after the announcement closed. So quickly we selected the candidate and sent the RFP to OPM in that same month in February. And we followed up with OMB on March 15, and we were informed that the position was not budgeted, or it might be eliminated due to the failure to fill the position. So hearing that, it kind of took me by surprise, because the lengthy delay was not on our part. We did try our best to fill the position. But in total, it was about 9 or 10 months since we've pushed out the request for announcing for the position. Just recently, OMB sent us a memo in July 15, stating that an OPUS will be signed for probationary status and is contingent upon the availability of funds, or whether it will be funded in FY 2025. The other position, equipment operator 2, went through the same process. With this one, we called the candidate, and he informed us that he found a job already in Black Micro. So we were bummed about that, because the delay again forced this applicant to search for other sources of employment. And this position was also listed on the OMB's memo, stating that it's contingent upon the FY 2025 budget. We did reach out, or we did publish another announcement for this position, and we reached out to the 2 applicants for this position, but we informed them of the OMB's memo. And given that they're both currently employed, it is enticing for them to come over, because it's a civil service position. But because of the risk that it won't be funded in the next budget, I think for now they haven't given me a firm response of whether they'll take it or not, but it's not looking too good. So moving on to the solid waste division.
Sorry,
No.
acting our assistant director, before we move on to solid waste, because right now our worksheets kind of separated too, and solid waste is lumped with stipend. So
Yeah.
could we just, before we proceed, have you addressed all your concerns regarding the operation and maintenance part of DPW?
Yeah.
Okay, so can we just, we'll open the floor for questionings there first, and then we'll proceed with solid waste. So all in all, you're requesting for 11, is that correct? 11 FTEs for DPW? Because you currently have 9 listed, and so you mentioned the 2 equipment operator 2.
Yeah, so we have 5 equipment operators. I'm focusing now on the 5 because these are the staff that are going out of the field.
Right.
They're funded. But there were the additional 2 that the legislature did fund in 2024, and those were the 2 that we weren't able to fill on time.
So for the entire department, you're just requesting for 2 FTEs that are not budgeted, correct?
Yes.
And those are for equipment operator 2.
Yeah, and if I may, I believe we're also requesting for 1 trade specialist and TSD, I believe that's a highway technical service division staff for the road cuttings, and
What's that position called?
it's a technical service division employee. I don't think I have the exact title. And the other one is a trade specialist.
So the 2 positions, the trade specialist and technical service division, these would be new FTEs and not something that was
Yeah.
provided for in the current year.
Yeah.
Okay. For 13. So 13 total for the department, correct?
I think it's 14.
9 plus the 4, right? Unless there's one more.
Yeah, there is one technical, I believe there's an error that they're trying to fix. Our trade specialist was indicated under solid waste. But I think that's a NOPA issue that they have to, sort of like a typo from what I'm hearing.
And
I'm
that's
not quite sure.
supposed to be under DPW,
Yeah.
but it's currently funded right now by solid waste,
Yes, it's reported under solid waste, yeah.
and it's being funded by solid
I
waste.
believe so, because it's on.
So should we just leave them at solid?
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it.
So just the additional 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions under DPW? Maintenance part? If none, okay. Senator Jude, recognize.
Thank you. Deputy, is the building safety, is it inclusive of the 14?
Yeah, that's funded for in 2025.
Because I understand that, there's in motion, no, to,
Yeah, we're trying to fill it in. It's vacant right now, and the announcement is in process.
okay. Okay, maybe Chairman, just to be consistent with the deputy's request, is we need to take heed on that, so we don't take away the funds, or, just put it in and make sure that it's funded for FY 2025. no?
Yeah.
Okay, that's recently
but
been
it-
vacated, no?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and then there's an additional one that we're requesting. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a trade specialist.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just
all right. Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed with the solid waste portion.
So in FY 2024, for under solid waste, we had 4 operators that were all funded. For next fiscal year's budget, 1 is eliminated and the other 2 are funded at $1. So with the first one, this is an equipment operator 4 position. The RFP was routed in September of 2023. It closed in March, or it was announced in February 2024, which is about 161 days. OPM sent us the memo for eligibility in May 2024. And then 2 months, which is 2 months after the closing. We interviewed the applicant in June 2024, and we routed the RFP for hire in June of 2024. And then we were recently informed that the position was eliminated from the budget for next fiscal year. The other position is another equipment operator 4. The vacancy announcement was announced in January of 2024, and it closed in March, about 60 days after the announcement. I'm sorry, it was announced, the RFP was routed in January and it was announced in March, which took about 58 days. OPM sent us a memo stating that there were no qualified applicants for that position. And we sent the RFP for re-announcement in June. But we were informed that the position was funded at $1. So right now, we only have one equipment operator that's at the landfill right now. And the other position is the solid waste branch supervisor, the landfill supervisor. This one went through the same delay. We did select an applicant and we're currently routing the RFP for approval, but this also is funded at $1. So we do risk this critical position, which is required under the administrative order. And with the other 2 operator 4s, I don't know the future of that for next fiscal year.
Is that all? Already? Okay, so to clarify, in total, how many solid waste employees are employed and are currently funded for next fiscal year?
We currently have 4.
Okay,
3 of those are in the administrative side,
okay.
and one of that is just the equipment operator.
So of the one that was eliminated, or sorry, maybe the one that was dollar funded, when you said there was no one on the eligibility list, so what was did you re-announce it as a 3 or a 2 or a 1, or just left it at a 4?
I believe we left it at a 4 for the initial routing.
Are any of these 2 positions under the dollar funded under that same memo that would provide a provisional or conditional employment?
No, the memo specifically stated just for the roads and grounds. So
Okay. Did you have an applicant for the branch supervisor?
yes,
Okay.
and
one-
the equipment. Sorry, and the equipment operator 4. One of them.
Okay. So these 3 positions that were eliminated and dollar funded, are they currently, or were they currently filled in the current fiscal year?
No,
These are new positions?
no, these are existing positions that became
Vacated.
vacant. Yeah, that were vacated during.
All the 3?
Yes.
Okay. And so if we're able to get the 2 positions under equipment operator 4, will it still be at equipment operator 4? The first one that was announced, the position that was eliminated, you had people that were on the eligibility list for that one?
Yeah, we had 1.
So will you have a challenge if we were to reinstate these 2 equipment operator 4? You will have people that are eligible for those 2 positions.
Yes, if it was funded for fiscal year 2025, I believe we can still check on the applicant who was interested. As for the other one, I believe at that time we were racing against time to kind of try and fill it in as opposed to restructuring it, because that would also
Okay.
take some time. But we could take a look at restructuring the other equipment operator 4.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm familiar with this particular area because we are experiencing the same thing on Rhoda. And so I think this is something that we will bring up with the secretary when we have him scheduled on the 8th. So that's our next hearing with DPW. And since he's the expenditure authority on these funds, we'll bring up those concerns and see how we can address that there.
Chair, if I can make one comment, and I think from today's hearings and even back to yesterday, you see this reoccurring theme that there's a delay in processing our funded FY24 personal actions for months and months and months. Then you get to the end of the fiscal year, and then they're saying that they'll fill them, but they're on a probationary basis pending funding in FY25. So our argument is that none of these positions were not filled because of our fault. We've been trying to fill these positions. They were just never processed. And then back when they did the original budget, to single out any vacant positions in February, given that you're only in the second quarter of the fiscal year, to zero them out come FY25, that doesn't make any sense. So that's the reoccurring situation that we're having here. Now, when you take a look at it, even if you go a little deeper, right? In FY24, Tinian had 294 FTEs. Then they eliminate 13 FTEs, funded FTEs, right? Some of them have position or pending to be hired. Then if you go deeper into our worksheet, of the 281 FTEs that are there, 68 are not funded. So then we're really down to 213 funded FTEs. So the impact is a lot greater than just what you see on the paper because you have to go deeper, look at each personal worksheet. So like, for example, the mayor's office, right? We have 41 unfunded FTEs. DPS has 16 unfunded FTEs. It just goes on and on and on. And these are positions that we need back because now you're asking us to run a municipality with all this activity with a tremendous decrease in FTEs. Why? Because at the time when they were doing the budget call, they weren't filled, but they weren't filled because we couldn't get it through the process. So that's the situation.
Thank you
that
for
we're
sharing.
at.
And you know, one of the things that we also forget, even as members of the Fiscal Affairs Committee, is that we approved a provision within the budget that restricts the filling of vacancies unless unless they are coming from DFEMS or DPS, and then any other additional positions that the governor may deem necessary. And so maybe whether it be a matter of identifying which positions are crucial, but because of that provision, they can easily argue that, you know, it was the legislature that tried to limit. And I think that was the intention at the beginning was, you know, anything that becomes vacant, it was our opportunity to shrink the government, but not so much hamper the services. And so that would have been up to the governor to determine other positions outside DFEMS and DPS to determine whether it's something that we can continue to fund, whether it be in the current fiscal year or in future fiscal years. And so while we intended to reduce and shrink some of these positions, here we are again trying to see if these positions is something that we're going to bring back and continue to fund. And so it's for consideration and understanding that and encouraging people to hold on to those positions. And so that's something that we'll consider again this for the upcoming fiscal year, and we'll try to bring up some of those concerns during discussions. At this time, I recognize any member in regards to solid waste. Yeah. Senator Jude, yes.
Thank you, Chair. So, Deb, currently there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 no, being funded by solid waste. Okay, so there's a name, but I don't know if reflective of the actual occupying of the position right now. as you were mentioning earlier, it took almost one fiscal year to process a payment. I mean, process a RFPA.
Yeah.
So could this be the individual? 8392?
8392. Let me just pull up the,
I don't want to say on record, no.
is this the governor's proposal?
No, it's
Solid-
actual listing, yeah.
For the solid waste side, the listing of personnel on there is,
8392,
I think they're mixed with the all three islands, so
yeah, there's 8393, 8819, I'm sorry, 8392, and then 8743, and 8395. That's under Tinian. This is, okay, I see it. The examination announcement pending eligibility. Examination announcement pending eligibility. So this is what you were referring to. It's being processed, right? Earlier?
is this for
Solid waste.
solid waste?
So I'm just thinking if currently there's 2, 4, 6, 7 names. And then there's additional 3, 2 of which, I mean, it's an equipment operator 2 and solid waste supervisor and equipment operator 4. So any of those, is this what you're referring to, that it took quite a few?
On that personnel listing, there is one equipment operator for,
Yes.
that's at $1, somewhere in the middle of that listing on the governor's proposal. That pay grade, I think, is 607 or,
Okay, so let me just, so that we don't, I'm just trying to reference because this is the proposal by the administration, solid waste. And they did put a figure. So I think we should consider this particular. Oh, now I see a different sheet. Joe, is this the revised? Dave, is this the revised? So, but this is the revised? Because in the beginning, this one says it's there, the figure is there, and then they dollar it. Okay, this is something that's gonna make us even work harder to try and figure out which is, we would like to think that it's the one with the figures,
okay.
not the one figure. But thank you, Deb.
You said, yeah, just to clarify, you have 4 employees, you said, right? Currently,
We have one that's,
no, altogether. So I see admin assistant, solid waste supervisor, administrative officer, trade specialist too.
Yeah.
yeah, there's four equipment operators. Yeah, for solid waste. 1, 2, 3, no, the positions. And then only one is currently filled.
Here's you.
I totally missed this. So I do know that, and we understand that there is the hazardous pay provision for exposure to these facilities, no? Do you have any knowledge if any of our staff or your staff are being paid?
No, to my knowledge, I don't think they've dispersed any hazardous pay yet, just yet.
Okay, but definitely there's the time and attendance is being booked in, no? Just
Yeah.
in case there's a resumption of that. Yeah, another thing is, so of the listing that you have right now, you said only one equipment operator that's over there at the landfill?
Yeah.
So what about the other individual that's under public works?
What do you mean?
There's another equipment operator, but it's under public works. His
Yes.
name is not here.
Yeah,
Is that the one you're referring to?
He's under roads and grounds.
Right, so there's 2 then.
Yes. So we cycle out our roads and grounds to assist with the solid waste.
Okay. Okay, so I also suggest that because the gentleman is not under solid waste, but does solid waste, that in his position description or somewhere there in his work, he's a classified employee, right? He's a civil
Yes.
service. Include their qualified, because it's not fair that he goes there and he does
Right.
the exposure and he's not being considered as a hazardous pay qualified. And it's not to his, it's not to your fault, but it's really just the process itself. It's becoming cumbersome and challenging. So, okay. All right. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Nodet.
Thank you. So I see the 3 admin, and then there's a trade specialist 2 that you have right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then is there equipment operator 1?
Yes, there is.
And
That's
the
the
equipment
lone-
operator 2?
Yeah, and that one is currently vacant.
Mr. Cabrera,
Yes.
vacant right now. But this
That's the
is
applicant.
separate from what you're requesting that was eliminated? No, it's not eliminated. So it's funded for next year?
Yes, and that Carrera.
Yeah.
That's the applicant that signed up, and then it took so long that when we contacted him to come in for a drug test and do the necessary paperwork, he declined the offer because he found employment at Black.
Were you trying to promote this one?
No, this for OMB
Well, because he's already, so it's already, this position,
is funded.
right, and what was this individual trying to do?
So this is funded for next fiscal year, but it's vacant. So the vacancy announcement is pending. It's en route.
So you're gonna be able to fill that, and then you're requesting for the dollar funded one, the 3 on the bottom. The solid waste branch operator
For
4, and then I see an operator 2,
no,
that's vacant?
that's our only operator 2. The other position is an operator 4 that was eliminated from this sheet.
Okay, and they had Mr. Pinala listed under Tinian, but I think he's under Rhoda, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I recognize Senator King Neighbor.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Deputy. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned the administrative order, right, and your non-compliance of it. How long have you guys not been compliant? Here on Tinian for solid waste.
As far as not having the position filled, I think it's going on over a year now, or more, if not more.
And what are the consequences? How long is that tenable without repercussion?
So right now we have the landfill manager really managing down into the operations of the landfill. According to the administrative order, with that supervisor on site, he would be responsible for the entire safety and the management of the landfill. As far as operating the heavy equipment, it requires one operator and a spotter for each heavy equipment. So the landfill supervisor would step in if there's not enough operators on site as well. In addition to that, we're facing the tipping fee as a source of revenue. Even with that, we can't achieve that because of the lack of staff that we have, including the lack of infrastructure that's there, like the scale and all of that. So we don't have like an automatic scale that they can go over. So a lot of it is going to be manual. We don't have an accounting system there too. So a lot of it's going to be manual, and with manual systems, you're going to have to have more bodies on the ground. So,
And so if these staffing issues persist, what is the consequence?
so even with now, with just one operator, and as we cycle our roads and ground staff to the landfill and the green waste, we have multiple sites on island. They're pretty spread thin. So as of right now, the trash is being spread. We lack equipment to properly cover it. But with the existing earth that's there, as they spread, some of the areas do get covered. But with additional staff, we could have the dozer operating exclusively just to spread, with the other operators driving another equipment to bring in the earth material into the compound and piling it in certain areas so it could assist the bulldozer with covering the trash. And we're supposed to cover the trash daily. Even with the shortage in staff, our employees that are assigned, they're getting, how do you say, discouraged to even be there because they're by themselves. They can't really operate the equipment without neglecting safety as they're operating these heavy equipment. We have customers that are coming in and out every minute, so we're pretty much struggling right now. We're forced to bring in roads and ground staff to assist in some of the projects, whether it be erecting a new fence at the landfill just to ensure pest and illegal violators don't come in there and just throw the trash all over the place. We do take out those efforts from the roads and grounds, and that will leave us with neglected highways and overgrowth and blind spots. And so we're trying to balance as much as we can on all divisions.
Senator, if I could just add to that. And, we recently met with BCQ and even EPA. And often they come over here to do a site inspection. And when they come to the mayor's office, we let them know that first things first, you got to really figure out first who has the authority to address these orders. For a lot of reasons, they think it comes down to the municipality. Now, as you know, we do not have expenditure authority over the solid waste funds. That's all happened given to the secretary. At the same time, the secretary is the responsibility for the entire CNMI solid waste. So what we tell these agencies is, you got to bring all the stakeholders into this meeting, because just by coming to, which includes, I hate to say it, even the legislature in terms of funding properly, because as you know, right now, the existing landfill, we're going through the process of trying to get it RCRA compliant. Once we get that RCRA compliant, then what the deputy just said in terms of the personnel needs and the cover requirements and everything like that, you're going to ramp up to a whole different level. And your question as to where's that going to take us? Well, that'll take us to an immediate notice of violation, because when you don't have any equipment, you don't have any personnel, you don't have any fuel for the equipment if you had equipment, and if you don't have any money to buy cover material, how would you be able to meet any of the requirements? So this is a big problem. It's a big issue that has to be looked at more at the state level to figure out how is the state going to advocate for the municipalities in terms of how we're going to resolve our solid waste issues.
Thank you, Chief. And have you been in contact with Secretary Yumu regarding the issues that you've expressed to the committee today?
We have reached out for funding for fuel and some repairs and whatnot that's required for the solid waste site. But of course, with the suspension of the earmarks, that's the main source of funding that solid waste depends on. So there's pretty much not more to say if there's no funding that he can send over.
Thank you for that, Deputy. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Carl. Any other member? All right. At this time, we thank you, Assistant President Director, for your time here today. As we stated, our hearing for the Secretary of DPW will be on Thursday, where we can bring up some of the concerns that were shared, not just with the Tinian, but also with Rhoda in regards to solid waste, and we'll try to address that there. And if there's anything else that pops up between now and then, please feel free to reach out to any of the members, and we'll try to see how best we can assist you in regards to the solid waste. At this time, I recognize you for anything else you'd like to offer the committee.
Thank you for coming out and making time to hear our department's needs and concerns. And we always try and remain optimistic with whatever the situation that comes for the CNMI government. We do know the economy is not doing so well, but we really do our best out here in Tinian, and I hope it's it's apparent as you guys go around and visit the island. Please really do try and help us. I know everybody's crying for help. Any help will do at this point, no matter how significant or minuscule the amount of help is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boer. At this time, we'll take a 5-minute recess and we'll invite the next or the last agency to get settled. We'll recess until 2:40. recess. This, we have the Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services. The department submitted a request for 28 FTEs. Those FTEs were maintained based on the governor's proposal. Additionally, under the operations, they've requested for 30,000 in travel, 75 in machinery, 50 in, 75,000 for improvements, 50 more for machinery, 50 for vehicle, 25,000 for fuel, 100 in repair and maintenance, 30,000 in training, and 40,000 for utilities. And there are several other categories, but those are under 10,000. And so at this time, to justify the request, I recognize the Deputy Commissioner at this time.
Good afternoon to all who are present here today, most especially to this committee who are here to allow all the departments here in the municipality of Tinian and Aguiguan to present their department's requests. For the record, my name is Raymond T. De La Cruz. I am the Resident Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, Station 6. As we all know, Tinian is booming with the military buildup. With this being said, this buildup comes with population growth. DFM Tinian faces this challenge of trying to accommodate the community whenever such incidents or calamities should arise. It is just so depressing to look at our budget that puts us at a standstill. As for operations, we do not have the funding to further train our personnel on all aspects of saving lives and property. We are also unable to maintain our emergency response units, placing our personnel and public in danger due to mechanical failure. Thank you. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Looking at your request, there's at least 4 vacant FTEs. Were these positions vacated in the current fiscal year, or were they ever filled in the current fiscal year?
For the current fiscal year, they were still put in as a dollar. No, we weren't allowed to fill them.
Have there been any personnel changes since the start of the fiscal year in terms of anyone resigning?
Yes, we had 2 resignations. And with this military buildup and with the military advertising for hiring of firefighters and EMTs, my guys are looking towards going that route.
Okay. The 2 that resigned, are those in the process of being filled?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's been held back at OPM and OMB.
Do you know for what reason, seeing as how they're funded currently?
No funding.
No, so are they on the current listing that's in the budget right now?
Yes.
Their names are on there?
Yes,
So that would mean that there should be funding for those positions.
but it's still on hold. We
Okay.
just keep following up, but we're just getting the runarounds.
Okay. Can you provide the committee with those names, and we'll try to assist in
Okay.
seeing what the status is? Would you have, I guess, do you think you're going to face the same challenges with DPS in trying to fill some of these positions? Have there been any interest?
Yes, we
express,
have some potential candidates, and they are actually certified firefighters also.
That want to come back?
They want to come back, and some are from CPA.
Okay.
So-
What about through WIA? Have you looked at that route yet? For
We've
new,
discussed
applicants?
we've discussed going the route through WIA, but with WIA's what you call it, the requirements is we take them on, I think, for 6 months to a year, but we have to guarantee that we have a position available for them. And that's, like I said, with this vacancy, we're still at $1, so we don't want to take on people and then let them go.
Right. So the current vacancy that's in the budget, are those still those same positions that you would like to fill?
Yes.
Nothing more or nothing less?
Even with these current vacancies, out of these 22 firefighters I have here, I'm still trying to find funding to send 5 of these guys up to Saipan for evaluation. So far, I'm just putting them under suppression for now. They cannot they can be on the medics to assist, but they cannot assess patients.
So it's just to get them certified,
Yes,
the ones that are currently employed.
yes.
But as for additional positions, or would you say that 2, 4, the 5 are sufficient for next fiscal year?
No, we still, with that 5 going up, we still need at least all of our vacancies filled, because right now we're running a 24-hour shift,
Right.
and we only have 4 guys on per shift. So it makes it 2 on the medics and 2 on suppressions. But we've had incidents where we were at a fire, and then we get a medic call, and then they have to leave.
Okay.
And then it puts the guys on suppression in distress, because now we don't have backups.
Okay. Are you able to manage without the 2 administrative positions that are vacant?
No. With my current admin officer, when she's on leave, I have nobody else to work on admin, on the admin side.
Okay. Are you able to manage without the assistant?
No, I would like to get that position so that, whenever my admin officer is on leave or on sick bay, I have somebody there that's vice on what my admin officer does.
Okay. Is your department expecting any CBDGR grant to provide for any ambulance or any other equipment? that they're
Yes,
able to
as a
fund?
matter of fact, I am almost done with requesting for a backup ambulance that we should be turning it in by October.
So this is a grant request?
Yes,
It's
for
not, nothing
CDBG.
that has been awarded yet?
Yes, just I think March or May, we got our jet ski and one ATV from CDBG. It's a mini pumper.
Okay. And the 50,000 that you're putting under vehicle, it's just,
So currently, we only have one vehicle. So when we're on a search and rescue mission, we have to use our personal vehicles, or I have to drop off guys at this location and then drop the other crew at one location. And
so you only have one operable
Yes.
vehicle for the entire department? How many inoperable vehicles?
we have one that's in the shop now, but we're still waiting for Munis to approve it. It's been how many months already that we haven't gotten the payment for the vendors. The vendors will not touch anything until payment is received.
Okay, and so just the one additional that you
Yeah.
can fix?
Yes, sir.
There's no other vehicles that could be fixed that you would need funding for?
That's the only vehicles we have right now. It's the Dodge Ram and the F-250.
Okay. Do you guys have a boat?
No. Hoping.
Okay, so again, just going back and just finalizing and clarifying, how many additional, or how many in total firefighter ones would you like to see for next fiscal year? Right now, there's 3 that's already in the budget, but it's not funded yet, so
4 would be,
4 total. So that would be the 4 firefighter ones and 2 administrative staff, right?
yes.
Okay. Recognize any individual? Any members? Recognize Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Deputy Commissioner. Just real quick, you said that there's currently 1 vehicle in the shop. Is it already fixed and ready for pickup, but just waiting payment, or?
No, it's still in the shop. We got the quotes already,
Okay,
and the vendor will not order the parts until.
unless there's a
until
PO.
There's no payment. Yeah,
So they want like a down payment or something, or
they want a full payment.
full payment? But
yeah.
how do they know what the full payment is if they haven't really fixed the, they
So
don't
we got
know?
the quote already for the parts and labor. and
Sure,
then
but
we
that's an
process that.
estimate, right? A quote is an estimate. The labor could be more than what they quoted you, or could be less. So if we paid in full, without the actual work being done, that's kind of, but they're requiring payment first before they
Yes.
start work. And how long has it been in the shop?
It's been already almost 3 months.
3 months? Okay, and so there's already a PO for it?
Yes, ma'am.
And, okay. And then what was the reason why the payment hasn't been issued?
Well, according to Munis, everything's being prioritized as top priority, So even with us, I tried to justify that, this is an emergency vehicle and we need this, but it's just it's all up to Saipan approving.
So there's no funding, there's.
The money is there. We use
Right,
our
so
we use our
when you
revolving
call
funds.
Saipan and to follow up for the payment, what is the reason? I mean, what are they explaining to you? What's the explanation?
It's just prioritizing the needs and the wants.
Okay. All right. Do you have the PO number by any chance?
No, I don't.
Okay. Can you provide it to us at a later time?
I will.
Thank you. Okay. That's all I have for now, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognize Senator King Neighbor.
Thank you, Chair. And Deputy Commissioner, who do you speak to on Saipan directly? Your point of contact regarding the pending payment?
I'll check with my admin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be my administrative officer, and she's on sick bay today.
Okay. And then just, if you answer this, I apologize. The 75,000 for improvements, there's a request?
Yes.
Could you specify that?
So we have the back side of the station that we need covered to protect our inventory.
And that's been quoted out already? That's how you guys got the numbers?
Yes. That was just a rough estimate on one of the vendors.
Okay.
So we need to repair the backside because we still have assets, that needs protection from the elements, from the weather, and we still have our suppression and EMS building. There's a roof on top already, but we need to install utilities, communications and.
So that's inclusive of that,
Yeah.
of that 75. How much just for the covering on the outside, on the back?
I don't have it right now with me.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that.
If you could, please. Yeah, that's all I have, Chair.
Thank you. Can the roofing be covered by any CBDR allocations that's remaining, or even the Marple Heights,
Well,
the earned bond interest money?
The Marco Heights, we definitely have to amend the legislative law.
Okay, if there's any balance in there that could be used to address.
Maybe on the next round of the CIP maintenance funds. How much did you say it's gonna be?
75.
Whoa, that's probably more than we get on an annual basis.
Yeah, thank you. Senator Duke, recognized.
Just good afternoon, Deb.
Good afternoon.
Just quickly on more on the ops, no? As far as let me backtrack. I asked this question during the DFEMS hearing with regarding the opportunity for the hotshots. So I asked if Rhoda and Tinian are available of such opportunity, to whether it's providing assistance to the wildfires there, or even advancing the skills of our firefighters. Did they reach out to your office, or?
Yes, they did reach out to us. Every year they have what they call the pack test. So the instructors come down here. We invite the community also to be a part of the pack test to see who qualifies to be on the hotshot program. And then once they're qualified down here, there's a second round of qualifications in Saipan. But for this year, due to budget funds, Rhoda and Tinian were unable to be shipped up to Saipan for the second round of qualifications.
Do you have any ballpark figures to how much does it take? Just for potential.
It all depends on how many are qualified from Tinian.
So let's say, for example, the commissioner says, I'm going to get one from Tinian, one from Rhoda, and 8 from Saipan. You're going to send out 3, let them duke it out. It's just part of the process. So just, like in the event that there's another round of tests for the second phase, we can be better prepared.
Yeah.
Because I know you tried and you're trying to, but if you're cut, your hands are tied because of the funding issues, then this is a good time to you don't have to answer now, but like if you can send us a queue. What is the cycle normally? Or is it just they just wait until dry season over there, or?
Yes. So I believe it's starting in somewhere like May, all the way to
the training segment?
No. So training is qualifications. The pack test down here is just one day.
Usually?
It's like in February.
Yeah, so we have ample time to just, I'm always advocating that we each give our firefighters from the respective senatorial district a chance, to serve also.
Yeah, and Tinian did have 2 participate 3 years ago.
Oh, that's nice. So, okay, and the other thing is, I know that this is a sour subject, but it's already been resolved, but, we just don't want to repeat it regarding the phone lines. I know our good deputy commissioner deputy commissioner, Mr. Mescun, had extended a substantial amount of communication directly to my office as well. So are they using their central funds to help you with that, or do they expect you to?
We're using our revolving funds now.
So they pass it back to you again? Is there?
Well, in the beginning, 9030 was under the EMS grant.
So that grant is expired?
They're still working on the grant. They haven't received anything yet. So once that grant comes back in, then they will handle that 9030. But the only reason why that there was a delay in the 9030 was because it was under Saipan account, and then ITNE gave us all you gotta do this, and this, all these steps. So there was always a delay on ITNE's part, where how to go about transferring that line to us. And then funding was the issue again, because there was some arrears owed to ITNE. Okay. But that's been rectified.
That's since been rectified?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. And pretty much, we take note of your advocacy to fund firefighter ones, ideally 5, as requested, and the administrative officer to address the administrative work in the event that the administrative officer, one or two, takes leave. And also just for consistency, just we can share with any of our offices, who is your usual POC on Saipan with regards to all the stuff that we're discussing today, primarily funding stream, who helps you with that, or over at Department of, at DFEMS on Saipan. We have a direct communication with the agencies there, so.
We have
appreciate
we have a good working relationship with Saipan and Rhoda. We all help each other out when we need something.
That's good. It's good to hear. All right, Mr. Chairman, I think I've pretty much covered what I have for the budgetary side. Thank you, Deb and Mayor, Chief.
Thank you, Senator Hofschneider. Deputy Commissioner, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and the LA is looking back at the notes, I think Commissioner Pua meant that there's at least one from Rhoda going or on that hotshot group. Are you saying that no one from Tinian was selected?
No.
Okay. We'll confirm that and then.
That was only because they did the qualification round down here, but according to Saipan, there was no funding to send up the qualifying applicants up to Saipan for further training.
Okay. But
I think maybe the one from Rhoda is a civilian, so maybe he's...
no, he's a firefighter.
Oh, okay.
From what I was told. But have they ever sent people from Tinian before?
Yes. Yes.
So they would still have to go through this
Yeah.
recertification or qualifying?
Every year they have to go
Okay.
for recert.
Thank you. As far as the EMT certification, this is done through DFEM Saipan, right?
Yes, the DFEM's EMS office.
Is that through Chief Mesa or is that another?
No,
division?
it's Captain Sewell.
Okay. So have you made a request for them to come
Chief
down
Buwa,
instead? Because I know they've sent individuals to Rhoda to certify them. So are they able to send somebody over?
Yes, so August 14th to the 17th, we have the EMT instructors coming down to recert all my guys,
Thank you.
including me.
Have you had any challenges in trying to get support from DFEM Saipan?
No.
Okay, so they've been very supportive in your request. Okay, thank you. Deputy Commissioner, anything else from the members? If not, Deputy Commissioner, thank you for your testimony today. If there's anything that you would like to add that weren't discussed here, please feel free to reach out to any of the members of the committee. At this time, if you would like to provide any statements before you leave, or?
Okay. No, thank you again for, hearing us out here in Tinian. I hope that what we ask for, we get something out of this.
All right. Thank you for your time today, Deputy Commissioner. We appreciate all the work that you and your firefighters are doing. With that, members, we now move down to announcement, and under announcement, Chief and Mayor, can I request that we've heard of several FT requests. If I can request for your office to provide a summary, but also within that summary, have them prioritize as to the emergency need or the in terms of which agency you would like to provide for those FTEs, but even within those total FTEs per agency, what would be the absolute minimum that you would like to see at least covered throughout all the agencies? So that way, if we are able to identify a figure, then we can address the needs accordingly based on the priority. And so with that, any additional information that you would like to share with the committee prior to any action on the concurrent resolution or the budget, please feel free to share that with anyone any one of us, and we'll try to consider that upon deliberation of the budget. I know that the House already pre-filed their version of the budget, which we have yet to see. I know they have a session on Thursday, and so we'll also use that as a guide to see how much they've deviated from the governor's proposal, and then we'll try to see how we can address it on our end. Any other announcements from the members? We have DPL up next on tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 at the Senate chamber. With that, can I get a motion for the adjournment? Oh, sorry, members. I would just like to take this opportunity to also thank the judiciary, presiding Judge Naraha, for the approval of the use of the courtroom as well as the courtroom staff, and to the staff here, as well as the municipality of Tinian for the hospitality, and to everyone who came out today. This time, I'd like to recognize the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for allowing me again to speak. Good afternoon, Chairman and members. Thank you for the opportunity to provide this committee with my closing remarks, summing up the key issues of the Tinian Municipality and discussing the critical needs and issues for the past couple of days that have had a direct impact on our islands. It is my belief that if we work together, we have the power to shape our community's future for all of our residents. First, I want to ask this committee to once again address the restoration of the municipal personnel for the upcoming fiscal year 2025. Our dedicated staff are the backbone of this municipality, and reinstating them is essential to ensuring that our services to the community remain strong and effective. Each member of our team plays a crucial role in addressing the needs of our residents, and their expertise and commitment cannot be replaced. As we look ahead, we must also recognize the impending expiration of the American Red Cross Rescue Plan funds for this year. We are requesting operational funding that will cover vital obligations such as rental payments for the Tinian Mayor's Office, Department of Finance, and Department of Labor, funding for fuel and communications. These costs are fundamental to our daily operations and the efficient delivery of basic services. Furthermore, we ask this committee to provide for more flexibility to the use of our revolving funds. The ability to use these funds more effectively will empower us to respond more swiftly to each of our department's needs and to allocate the resources where they are most required. Additionally, we need to explore the potential tax revenues generated from the Department of Defense build-up on Tinian. Adjusting our projections based on these earnings could significantly alleviate financial pressures in our community and provide us with the resources we need for essential services and development. I also encourage our legislature to have the Department of Public Works, SAIPAN, or the Department of Finance, whoever is responsible agency, in assessing the developer's tax, to reassess the developer's tax for all DOD projects, as this could lead to further financial relief for both Tinian and the entire Sinumay. In closing, these issues are interwoven and directly affect the well-being of our community. By addressing them collectively, we can help secure a better future ahead and ensure that we continue to provide necessary support and services to all our Sinumay residents. Thank you for your time, attention, and your continued commitment to assisting the municipality of Tinian and Aguiguan.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor and Mr. Perez, and especially the fact that you pointed out as well the increase in BGRT just coming from Tinian alone, and how that we can take those information, verify it, and bring it to the administration to see whether those are conditions to consider in increasing the available resources in which we can further use to address some of the needs in Tinian, especially because of the increase in activities that are going on over here. And so we thank you for sharing those information with us. And again, if there's anything else that you can do to assist the committee as well, we'll be happy to receive any input from you guys and to see how we can further address your needs. With that, members, can I get a motion for adjournment? All right, motion was made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This meeting is hereby adjourned at 3:13 p.m. Thank you.